This downtown area could be changing drastically very soon. In fact, let's talk about some of the changes coming to Austin right now. Jeremy Knight, the Knight Group, your favorite Austin realtor. Thanks and welcome back. Before we get to this project, what I think is going to be a pretty amazing project if it does come to fruition. I want to hear your thoughts, but I want to talk about some of the things that are coming to the Austin area, that are slated to come to the Austin area. If you actually follow me on my Instagram, I actually post continually about some of the projects that are coming, the HEBs that are coming, the projects that are coming out near Tesla. And so I want to go through some of those projects and some of the things that are happening in the Austin area. And really the catalyst for this video wasn't the South Congress development. It was this article I read about land and land development. Now, if we go back a couple years, before the pandemic, Austin had all of these articles out about Boomtown 2040, right? And all the growth that was coming to Austin. Well, the pandemic highlighted and sped up all of that movement towards Austin. What should have been a 10-year movement and migration of people happened over 2 years. So you're seeing the city really trying to catch up. And unfortunately, that means higher property taxes because the city is really trying to catch up, which means affordability is an issue, obviously, because prices have gone up. So there's so many issues with Austin, but it all relates to this. So Red Oak Development, Tom Schwab, is planning $15 billion investment here and around 10 mini cities around the Austin area. Complete with housing, schools, and medical campuses, there's one major problem: land prices. In just 3 years, prices in Lockhart have nearly doubled, with parcels now around $80,000 an acre. Georgetown is even higher, reaching $180,000 an acre. Staub says, "We can't find land prices that make sense," warning that Austin housing crisis could worsen over the next 12 to 24 months. Developers are struggling to secure available land, while stalled projects could impact job creation and the nation's growth. Austin needs solutions fast. I think this is one of the biggest problems that Austin is facing, and this is something we've talked about. Landowners saw their neighbors' home prices go up drastically during the pandemic, and so now they want those same prices. Even though we've seen prices around the Austin area drop about 20-ish% since the peak of the pandemic. And what I get from most people when they reach out to me is everything's too expensive. Everything's too expensive. Well, the reality for most people is that interest rates have been a problem. And with interest rates going up, that has made it really unaffordable. And then on top of that, home sellers, home buyers are being taxed even higher with all of these new projects, like the project we're going to talk about here in a minute. Speaking of land being really expensive, I actually have access to the off-market stuff, right? So a lot of the land that gets sold is actually sold off-market, so the data is not necessarily readily available. But I actually get access to a lot of the off-market stuff. And there is a tract right now, it's 2,300 acres, all the way out in Dripping Springs. That's $80 million. Okay, there's another tract that's right off of 290 that's $23 million, and that's a much smaller tract. But as you can tell, for these developers, these tracts are extremely expensive. Now, and it can be hard for them too to know what things sell for, because when they sell off market, we don't actually have a price because Texas is a non-disclosure state. So these developers, when they're pricing out land, they do run into problems too with being able to actually price land unless they work with somebody that has access to all of the off-market stuff. What are your thoughts on the price of land in Austin being so expensive? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments. But the challenge that Austin's facing is that there's still more development. One of the biggest problems that Austin is facing is its mobility, right? So one of these articles actually came out from Community Impact, talking about the I-35 cap. Now, so the I-35 cap, what they're going to do is they're going to take pretty much all of downtown and they're going to make parks over I-35. The whole point of this is to connect east and west of I-35, because they always said that the wrong side of the road tracks was the east side of 35. I see nothing but huge development on the east side of I-35 since I've lived here about 13 years. But that comes at an expense too to the people on the east side, where developers are coming in, buying up lots, and then they make these mega mansions on the east side, and the taxes on those people on the east side are getting taxed out. So those are also problems in the Austin area. But this I-35 project is a billion, it's like a $1.6 billion project. It's probably going to be way more than that, but that's starting from lower downtown up through, Airport Boulevard. the first closures are actually starting right now. So if you've ever driven down I-35, especially south of 290, said the 71 area, you actually are seeing a lot of construction there right now. And so that was the first part of the construction. The next phase is going to be this downtown I-35. Now, the other problem with this is we have taxes being procured by our local officials coming for the light rail project that they've already secured taxes on. They're already taking taxes on. Now, this project's now moving along again, but what a project that was going to be from all the way from the airport to soccer field is not even going to be that. It's going to be a lot lower part. It's not going to be as long. Instead of being, what, 9 miles, it's going to be less. And it's already at $9 million, up $9 billion, up from $7.8 billion. So that land price that we saw go up during the pandemic has definitely made issues and made problems for our Austin central area. Now, here's the other thing. Austin still is booming. And why do I say Austin still is booming? Because you have major companies bringing in developments on the 130, and they are bringing in developments up to Georgetown. I can't tell you how many times I open up articles and I find something like this. EQX Exeter, one of the largest real estate management firms globally, is expanding its footprint in the Austin area. The company is constructing a 412,000 square foot industrial building in Georgetown, set to be completed next year, located on 600 Farm to Market 972 in the GTX Logistic Park. Now, this is just one of the many projects that's coming in and around the Austin area. We're seeing this in Kyle. In fact, do me a favor, drop a comment below and tell the mayor of Kyle to come back on my channel. I actually want to bring him back on and talk to him. I'm actually really impressed with what Kyle is doing. In fact, our video that just came out last week actually talks about how I put Kyle as one of the main cities that people should be looking at for development in 2025. So we have all of these development parks coming, data centers, we have chip making plants, service providers for Tesla, all on that 130. So people and companies are still moving here. Now, what does that mean for the Austin area? It just means that it's not going to get cheaper anytime soon, unfortunately. With the amount of taxes that they're having to require to fund these projects, like the project we're about to talk about, like the projects they're funding for downtown, this mobility, it's a lot of taxes. The problem is Austin needs it, because what happened during the pandemic, we had so many people move here. And now what's happening is people like my camera guy, people like a lot of people I know, a lot of clients are having to move outside of Austin to more affordable suburbs like Kyle, like Buda, like Hutto, like Manor, all of these suburbs. And so you're seeing that as we move further out, we still need more infrastructure projects. And this is all what's coming to the Austin area. One of the creative ways that the city of Austin is dealing with the tax issues is they're actually having the hotels have a higher tax for like the convention center projects. They actually took in a tax recently to do historic developments. Remember, I said a video that $27 million had already been cured by taxes that have been raised by hotels for historic areas, but they don't even know how to deploy that money yet. So these are all some of the problems that the city council and the city of Austin are facing. What's the right answer? I mean, you tell me in the comment section. I've given you my opinion. I always think that less government overreach means that developments are going to have the ability to bring costs down. I mean, one of the biggest problems right now is that anytime I talk to a developer, they're spending so much money on development costs with the city that cost gets pushed onto the consumer, which means that costs for housing are just going up. I've actually talked to a couple of people at city council. The biggest thing, in fact, there's a re-election going on right now, and or a runoff right now, and the runoff, both the candidates are talking about subsidizing affordable housing. Unfortunately, when you subsidize affordable housing, that's taxes from somebody else to get cheaper housing, when we could actually reduce some regulations. What are your thoughts on reducing or increasing regulations? I know I don't have all the answers. I'm just here to ask you what you think. Now let's talk about what's going to be happening downtown. All right, so this area behind me is on 7th Street and South Congress. So what the city of Austin is proposing could cost up to $160 million, but it's going to transform all of this area all the way up to the Capitol. So right behind me is 7th Street, all the way up to 11th Street. What they're planning on doing is taking this area in between each one of these intersections and taking away the north and southbound lanes and changing it into parks, areas for seating, and they're gonna put little cafes and all sorts of different places for people to sit and mingle. Now, on the north side of the Capitol, they've already done this, and it's pretty nice. So what's gonna change is no more northbound traffic, but you're gonna have east to west traffic. So on 8th Street, you'll have east to west traffic, and all the way up to the Capitol, but you're gonna have green spaces pretty much here all the way to the other side of the street. So this whole area is gonna be revitalized pretty soon. Now, this is up for vote with the city of Austin, with the City Council of Austin, so it's not 100% locked yet. The first phase is gonna cost $20 million, and the whole thing could be up to $160 million. So my question for you is, would you like to see more green spaces? Now, they're gonna take away 94 parking spots basically in this area, but would you rather see more green spaces in downtown utilizing this area between here and the Capitol, or would you rather see more development in Austin? Either way, this could be pretty unique. Now, we talked about earlier, I-35, you're gonna see more green spaces going over the top of I-35 with that development project, the Cap Metro project they're doing there. We've talked about a lot of different projects coming to the Austin area. What are your thoughts? Are the changes like these good for the Austin area, or are they bad for the Austin area? You tell me in the comment section below. And by the way, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. The guy behind the camera works really hard to make sure these videos look good for you. So everybody say hi, Bryce, in the comment section.